Hi guys, it's Bumblebee Love. So today's video is going to be sort of a little sewing guide. I'm actually making this for Denali Wind, but anyone else who's struggling with this part can of course hopefully get something out of this. So I'm not gonna show the entire process of how to make this little skirt because it is a skirt. This is the book that I'm taking the pattern from, and since it's not my own pattern, I don't want to like share it online, but I will make another video soon, a little tutorial on how to make a skirt, and I'll make a full tutorial on that one, and it's my own pattern. I don't feel much better about sharing that with the internet. So if you have this book, and you're making this skirt, I'll just show you which skirt it is. Whoops. It is, oops, this skirt. So if you have the book and you're making the skirt and you're finding the waist part a little bit tricky, I hope this video can help you, because we're only going to focus on the waist part. So these are the pieces, and I already put together the skirt itself, kind of, I guess. So you have two pieces. Just quickly, I zigzagged the three outer edges. Not this part up here, because that will be hidden inside the waist anyways. And I sewed them together and ironed it flat, and then I folded up the bottom and ironed it down and sewed it in place. So that is pretty much what you're gonna do for this part. So I'll just put that aside for now. And then I'll try to explain a little bit about this. And I don't feel like my vocabulary is quite big enough to do this properly, but I will try. Put these over here. So there are two different pattern pieces for the waist. One is a little bigger than the other, and the one that is bigger than the other will be where the little flap to open and close in the side, that's where we'll make that one, and this one is the other piece. So the way you're going to put these together is, first of all, on the pattern, oh sorry, Valis wants to go outside, just a second. Yeah, go Valis, sorry. So in the pattern there is a little line indicated on the piece, and that's where the flap is going to be. So imagine it being on the skirt, and the line is there, and it's gonna stick out like that, and that's where you close it. No. So there's that line, and you want to keep that, I guess, free. So put your pieces like this and take the smaller one and line it up in the opposite end of where you drew that little line. So here's the line, and you want to line these up over here, and the same with this one. Put it like that, and again the line is over there. And then what you want to do is you're going to sew down here and here, iron it flat. So and then iron it flat, sorry. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I have sewed them down, or sewed it in place now, but there was something I didn't explain, so I'll just do that real quickly before I iron these seams. So when you are drawing the pattern onto your piece of fabric, what I did was I put the fabric good side down, so I draw on the side of the fabric that's not going to be shown. So as you can see, this is the good side. That's what's going on the outside of the skirt. So you take your pattern, you put it down, you draw it, you draw the little line, and then what you want to do is you're going to flip it like this, because you want it to be opposite. So don't move your pattern like this and then like that. Make sure you flip it over and draw it, the other piece, and then draw them. I forgot to say that, but that's important, especially if you have fabric where you have a good side and a bad side. If your fabric is not like that, it's not as important, but yeah, I forgot to say that. So now I'm gonna iron down the seams. Okay, so I ironed the seams down, and now it should look like this when they are lying like this. So they are basically opposite. So what you want to do now is when you line them, oh no, we're not going to do that yet, but this is what it will be like when we get to the part where they're going to be lined up. So the big piece goes on the big piece and the smaller piece goes on the smaller piece. So that's what, oops, that's what they should look like at this point. So when you put them like this, they are opposite. So here's the big piece, here's the big piece, here's the small piece, and here's the small piece. So that's what you want those to look like. So now, what we're going to do, we are going to gather the skirt part, I guess. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna sew with a loose thread all the way across the top of the skirt, and then I'm gonna pull the string and sort of gather the fabric, but I will show you that. So I'll just sew with a loose thread across the top and I'll be back. Okay, so sew it across here. So make sure to leave a little bit of a tail, otherwise it will just come undone. And don't lock it when you sew, just sew without locking it or anything, otherwise you won't be able to do it. Just take one of the threads and sort of, see if I can do it with one hand, sort of like, there, hold it and pull the rest. And just keep doing that until you have wrinkled up or gathered it all across. You can also pull the other side. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I gathered it, I tied a bunch of knots at the ends, and then I cut off the excess thread, and I also ironed it down just because that makes it a little bit more manageable to work with. So that's definitely recommended. So at this point, let's see, make sure to, now you want to line up these pieces. I'm going to take the other piece. So make sure to do it good side to good side, and the length of this should be the same length as this part, minus the extra little flap. So when you line it up, it will sort of fit all the way around until over here where this little flap needs to stick out. So where you're going to attach this is on the longer side of the piece, not the shorter. So line up the middle where you sewed the two pieces together, and also on the skirt. Those two parts should line up, and of course the ends, and all the way over here until this part sort of sticks out. So I will do that. I'll line it up, pin it in place with some little pins, and then I'll sew around. So I'll be back when I've done that. Oh, before I do that, a little thing that I will remind you of is, or that you have to do, is you have to fold this part in like that, so that when you put this piece on here, this will be folded in like this, and then you sew it in place. So don't leave it like that, fold it in like this. I'll show it when I've sewn it in place. Okay, so it's sewed in place now, as you can see on the other side. Just to show you really quick what I meant with folding this part in. So before you sew it in place and pin it down, fold this end in where you're going to have the extra piece sticking out. That's where you want to fold it, not the other side. Just leave this one like that, and because then it will have a neat finish like that. So now you want to fold this up like that and iron it flat. So just a second. Okay, so it's ironed down now. Here's the other side, and you can see when you do this, imagine it hasn't been ironed down yet. When you do it, make sure that you also fold here like that, so that this side is folded up. And before it's ironed down, it's like that, but when you iron it, make sure to iron this little flap up and iron this part down as well. So now comes the part where, oops, where you're going to attach this. So all I want to do really is line it up here, or maybe you should start from the middle actually. Line these two where it's sewn together. Put it good side to good side, of course. Put that there, and over here, and this one over there. Pin it in place, and then you're simply going to sew all the way around the outer edges and down. So I'll do that. Okay, sorry. As you can see, I sewed all the way around there. And when you do this, don't sew all the way down. When you fold this part up, it should line up with the other part of the other waist part. Because if you sew it all the way down to the edge here, you will attach it to the skirt, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to fold it up like this. And the same over here, don't sew it all the way down, only sew until it meets the edge of the other piece of the waistband. So now I'm just gonna, it's a little hard to do with one hand. Snip up the corners like that. Go fairly close to the thread, but don't go all the way. So like this. And then you're just gonna turn this inside out. I'll see if I can do it with one hand. Not really, but I think you get the idea. Turn it inside out like that. And go in there with scissors or like a knitting needle and poke out the corners so it looks really neat, and fold down this part here, and then iron it all flat so it looks really neat. So I'll do that. Okay guys, so I made a mistake. As you can probably tell, there is actually no flap, and that's what we're trying to create. So it was supposed to be over here, and there is a tiny little bit, but it's not enough to even tell it's there. And that's because if we try to turn this inside out again, like this, I have made this part too wide. So the process is still the same, just make sure to narrow this a little bit more. So instead of having, let's see, this much of a extra bit sticking out, maybe make so this part goes here, so it's like a little bit more sticking out. Make the part that sticks out longer by narrowing this part. So I will take this all apart, and I have, oops, I've already drawn out a few other pieces, or the new pieces, and I will redo the whole process, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back again, and I fixed the problem. So as I said, the whole process up until now is the exact same. Just make sure that, I don't know if you can see, but I've made the little flip part, I made that longer, so I gathered the skirt part a little bit more, and that also creates a little bit more wrinkles or ruffles, which I like. So just make sure to let a little bit more of this part stick out, but otherwise it's the same. I snipped out the corners again, and another thing that I found out, before you flip it good side out again and iron it flat, you actually want to iron these up, so fold it up so it lines up with the waist pieces underneath. like that. Fold it up really neatly and iron it flat. So I'll do that and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I turned it right side out and ironed it. And as you can see, when you can try and unfold it real quick. When you iron these up here, they just automatically fold in on the other side really neatly, so you don't have to fiddle with pressing them under. So that's what that should look like now. So it should look something like this, and as you can see now the flap is there. So at this point you want to make sure it's really neatly ironed down, and you might need to fiddle a little with the corners, and also make sure to tuck everything nicely in there. Another thing is that when you fold this, let's see. Oh, sorry, this is a very shaky camera right now. But when you fold this inside, good side out again, like that, this part sort of folds in on its own, so that it creates the nice edge on the other side. And if it doesn't quite fold in, just force it a little and sort of make it fold in on its own. It's supposed to do it, but sometimes it takes a little bit of fiddling with it anyways. Iron it down really nice and flat. Make sure that this is covering up that. So go like, make sure it folds over like this. And then what you want to do, you want to take a sewing machine or your thread and needle if you're doing it by hand, and just sew all the way around here, up here, and around here, and down there. And then you're almost done. Okay, so as you can see, it's sewed all the way around the edges, and on the other side, that sort of closes this down, or yeah, sews it down or into place. I forgot, but also sew down here and here. And then at this point, so I'm gonna do this after. At this point, all you need to do is really just line these up like that, and then sew up here, this point. And that's pretty much it. Then you're pretty much done. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. I turned it right side out. I ironed down this little part in here, and it's pretty much done. This is what it looks like. I hope you can see it. Oops. And I have Gita here with me. She's going to be a good sport and try it out. I'm gonna move my machine a little bit. And excuse the dolly nudity. And she's wearing her new boots. That's so cute. So let's see what it looks like. Ta-da! Like that. A little thing I like doing with all the skirts and dresses I make pretty much is I sort of I don't know what you would call this, but twist it around like a wet piece of cloth that you're trying to get water out of. I always do that just because I think it makes it a little more, I don't know. I just like the way it looks better, and it's not as poofy when it gets on the doll. So I think it folds a little nicer. So that's pretty much it. And then at the little flap, of course, you can add your snap buttons and a little decorative button or something. So that was that. I really hope it was helpful. I feel like I was all over the place with this little guide. I don't think it's a tutorial really, but yeah, I feel like I was all over the place. So I really hope that you got something out of it and that it was a help. So, but as I said, I will upload a video with a very, very simple pattern for a skirt that I like making, and I will include the measurements for the pattern and the whole process so that you can make your own skirt, because again, this is not my own pattern and I don't feel like it's fair for the artists to share their pattern online. So it's only a little guide to help you if you have problem, if you have the book and you want to make the skirt but you find it a little tricky. That's pretty much what it was. So thank you for watching, and again, I hope it was helpful, and have a nice evening. Bye!